Yo, what's up, fam? Let's dive in. Bro, what is this? This is like witchcraft. Witchcraft is being removed from a guy's underpants. How did it get there? Yo, you can ask yourself, how did it get there? Did it come from his body or the tailor? Yo, this is just crazy, man. And is this in church, or has that man removed his trouser in church?
We are, all of us already are cyborgs. So you have a machine extension of yourself in the form of your phone and your computer and all your applications. You are already superhuman. But by far, you have more power, more capability than the President of the United States had 30 years ago. If you have an internet link, you have an oracle of wisdom, you can communicate to millions of people, you can communicate to the rest of Earth instantly. And these are magical powers that didn't exist not that long ago. So everyone is already superhuman and a cyborg. The limitation is one of bandwidth. So we're bandwidth constrained, particularly on output. So our input is much better, but our output is extremely slow. If you want to be generous, you could say maybe it's a few hundred bits per second or a kilobit or something like that output. The way we output is like we have little meat sticks that we move very slowly and push buttons or tap a little screen. And that's just extremely slow. And compare that to a computer which can communicate at the terabit level. These are very big orders of magnitude differences. Our input is much better because of vision. But even that could be enhanced significantly. I think that the two things that are needed for a future that we would look at and conclude is good, most likely, is we have to solve that bandwidth constraint with a direct neural interface, and make a high bandwidth interface to the cortex, so that we can have a digital tertiary layer that's more fully symbiotic with the rest of us. Like we've got the cortex and the limbic system, which seem to work together pretty well. They've got good bandwidth, whereas the bandwidth to our digital tertiary layer is weak.
Can you believe it?
So I think if we can solve that bandwidth issue, and then AI can be widely available. So AI, the analogy to nuclear bomb is not exactly correct. It's not as though it's going to explode and create a mushroom cloud. It's more like if there were just a few people that had it, they would be able to be essentially dictators of Earth, or whoever acquired it, and if it was limited to just one or people, and it was ultra smart, they would have dominion over Earth. So I think it's extremely important that it be widespread and that we solve the bandwidth issue. And if we do those things, then it will be tied to our consciousness, tied to our will, tied to the sum of individual human will, and everyone would have it. So it would be sort of still a relatively even playing field. In fact, it would be probably more egalitarian than today.
Yo, that's the CEO of Neuralink, and those were
Yo,
crazy
beat this.
stuff there you were saying.
My advice would
It's still
be
the same one here.
don't look at the markets for the next 12 months. If there's a dip, buy the dip.
By the dip, I mean,
And I think you will not be sorry because
by the dip.
there's just generally a sort of
Buy or sell,
there's an
yo.
economic cycle to things, but things come back.
When it goes down, you buy the dip. I don't know, you tell
Poland is one
me.
of the most racist nations on the planet.
Listen to
Polish
understand
people
and learn,
despise black people.
not to argue and be
Despise them,
relevant.
hate them.
And let's
We
hear.
know this because when the Russians went into Kiev, there were a lot of African students studying in Ukrainian universities who had to flee, and they went to the Polish border and they wouldn't be let in. The Poles were like, you ain't coming in here. We don't let people that look like you in Poland. Blatantly racist. So now they talk about these, they lack the proper certificates or the proper certifications, etc. I don't know. Gosh, when Joe Biden makes an unannounced visit to Poland, and of course, no American president flies alone. There's going to be a C-5 aircraft landing with, armored, sedans and Secret Service guys full of guns, none of which are registered. And I'll tell you why they're not registered. Because the security protocol for the President of the United States is classified top secret. That means the composition of his security detail is not to be known by anybody. So we're not going to admit what we have in this vehicle, what this guy's carrying, or anything. We don't tell the Poles any of that stuff because they don't have a need to know. We will never let them know. Now, when was the last time they strip searched the Secret Service agents of the United States of America? The answer is never.
Hope you can see it now. This is France. What the media is not showing, CNN, BBC, France 24, they will not show this route that is happening. The people in France, the
What is
burning of
happening in France?
vehicles and things, that shows how hard and how
Why are people fighting, man? I don't know. Is it the police beating people? This is a mermaid kept live beside water bag.
محمد رسول الله لا
Looks
اله
scary,
الا
like,
الله
no, not scary. It looks like a fake.
محمد رسول الله لا اله الا الله محمد رسول الله.
This is not good. What do you think, man? Look at the tail. It looks like it has been sewn. Like it's cotton. It's made of cotton. I don't know. But it doesn't look like really anyway to me. Oh, some videos are creepy or oh shit. In Mecca, water runs and fire comes out of the spring at the same time. You can imagine it is written in the Quran that one of the signs of the end of the world will be the appearance of such a spring. Yo, that is definitely crazy. And how comes it just appeared in Mecca? Is that a sign from God or what? A sign for the end times? It must be really crazy.
So the majority of headaches, remember, headaches, guys, remember this. There are no pain receptors in the brain. Brain surgery is painless, right? So the brain is not capable of sending a pain signal. So where does the signal come from? It comes from the covering of the brain called the dura. The dura hates two things. It hates being stretched and it hates being contracted. 85% of all the migraine sufferers that I've ever treated had a simple clinical deficiency in sodium. I have them drink salt water and their headaches go into permanent remission. Because we are not hydrated when we have water in our blood. We're hydrated when we have water in our tissues. And what determines whether or not water leaves the blood and enters the tissue is the sodium gradient. It's called osmosis. So if we actually restore the sodium gradient, that dura starts to relax and the pain goes away.
Oh, that's a life hack we just learned. Crazy. No proof of giants.
Смотри, я что-то вижу, что нашел. Вот что ты нашел? Что такое? Смотри, смотри. Что-то копни там ведь может. О, какое-то животное. Я такого никогда не видел.
Whoa, what's happening here? This
Вы
cave.
видите?
They're digging up giants. Looks like the head of Hulk. Looks like Hulk in some way. Just a part of his head buried with snow. Shit.
О,
Where is this place? Is this even real?
иду.
A mummified giant, something like that. If only I had a chance to get a look at one, maybe, and confirm maybe it's real, because these things, It's getting more and more scary, man. Yo, shit. Is the moon a sphere? Watch this video carefully. Or maybe you'll think of something else. Maybe there's no dark side of the moon or something like that. Who knows? Yo, this is crazy. Don't know if there's firmament or something like that and the moon. Englishman, help me, man. You know this stuff more. But this guy has a good idea about maybe a different perspective. No, maybe it's just a circle stuff. There's no dark side behind. There's no such a stuff. Yo, share your thoughts, man. I don't know. It's crazy, right?
Like icicles? Yeah, it's like an icicle. Isn't that cool? Oh my god, Nikki, look! No, this was Nikki, it's really pushing in.
I don't know. Yo, conspiracy and another animal here that looks like an elephant, a large elephant from the yo, and a dragon, like yo, a dinosaur in the water. Shit. Crazy stuff all over. The world is really